Got an interesting one today. I got a what I call a house maul. It's a maul on an 18-inch handle. The handle broke, so I just cut some off and I just rehung it with the size that I had left. And I love this thing. I use it as a kindling splitter. And what I'm about to show you is it also works as a full-time splitter or a full-size splitter. This is a bit of red oak. It's like a 20-inch round. Let's see what we got here. It's not going to come off in half. It's going to come off in a quarter, which is not a bad thing. Really works well. And the edge is butter smooth. It's really dull. Looks like there's a little bit of a knot. If I were to flip it, it would be easier. Not really part of my axe YouTube channel, but I've gotten very fat and I'm trying to remedy the problem. And I thought I'd share my thoughts. If you have the similar problems to me where you overeat and sometimes you just find yourself constantly eating and you do binge eating. What I've been doing recently, and I've started probably a week and a couple of days ago, is I'm just trying to eat at a small, sustainable calorie deficit. So about 200 to 500 calories less than I actually need. And if I were to binge eat, I'm going to act the next day like nothing happened and I'm going to continue. And so this isn't about rapid weight loss. It's about being able to do something for a long period of time, lose weight slowly in a healthy way, and I'm feeling pretty good about it. This is the first time in my life I've tried it this way. I've been able to lose weight before, but I've gained it back and I've done even worse. We'll see what happens. I'm feeling hopeful about it though, and I'll give you guys some updates in a month or two if I've failed or if I've continued. That was a little harder than I wanted. You can see the knot is right there. It's in the middle. I almost got. There we go. See how big that knot is? Pretty decent size. Probably won't be able to split down the middle of the knot, but let's give it a try. I think I use a lot of energy because I'm mostly swinging with my arms. Let's try my dedicated splitter. The nice thing about a super dull axe is I could just put it anywhere. It's not dangerous. So with red oak, the sapwood can really start to get fungus quickly. And as you can see, there is some. So I'm probably going to split the sapwood off and sequester it. We'll do that now. All sapwood. That was actually dangerous. That was dangerous. Let me show you. So, to the best of my knowledge, I'll have to watch the footage back, but the only thing stopping this axe from going into me was this little piece right here. That much. You really don't want to depend on that little amount of wood to save you from axing yourself. I'll have to watch. Maybe my angle wasn't like this, which I think it could have been. Maybe it was more like this, and then I'd probably go into the ground. We'll have to check the footage later, and I'll make another comment. So getting rid of the sapwood is sort of similar to getting rid of the bark. When you stack, sometimes when you stack wood, firewood, and it's not in an ideal location for airflow and being dry, the bark is really going to make it so there's fungus on it, even if you dry it for a year or two. Only a year or two. Or, you know, you think you're sufficiently dried. But no, this will lock in moisture, this bark. And similarly, sapwood on certain woods, most woods really, is like a magnet for fungus and mold. Maybe not mold, but definitely fungus. Woods that are rot resistant, it doesn't mean the sapwood is rot resistant. So that's partly why I'm doing this. One thing about what I just did is that's a ton of waste. Now that I'm looking at it, that's a lot of waste. I didn't take a lot of heartwood here, but like that much. And then it kind of tapers off. It's a lot of waste. So, you know, if you can put your firewood stack in full sunlight with good airflow, it's probably ideal. And maybe you won't have to do this, but I let these rounds sit for a week or two, and they're already got the mold, or they already got the fungus, I mean. See if I could do this where the split doesn't fly away. Sometimes you just got to work with what you got. So this is where the knot is. yeah, this this is much easier to use. This is about a 35-36 inch handle, and once you get used to a long handle for splitting, you'll see that you can probably put less effort into swinging it faster, although I think it's probably also a little more draining if you're not used to it. But at the same time, you're gonna get more speed on your axe head with less effort. Doesn't mean that you need that speed though. It just depends on the timber. You know, I want to give someone a shout out that I mentioned Ben Scott, I mentioned Skill Colt, I mentioned Axes of Keevil, Kurt S, Buck and Billy Ray. I mention them all the time. But there's another guy that I forget to mention sometimes, Kevin's Disobedience. He hasn't really been posting in a little bit, at least axe content, but he has a lot of good stuff. He tries things where he's like, I think this is possibly the correct thing, and then he sees if it's true, and he also just will, you know, show what he thinks he's learned, and that's valuable stuff because he's talking about the minute details, like the stuff that I like. I like the minute details of this. Go ahead, bud. Go. So, because the knot is on that side, let's flip this, see if we can get a little more leverage. Basically, when the knot is up top, close to where you're trying to split, you're getting less of that kind of opening leverage, you know? So that's why we flip it when the knot is close to the top. So I'm going straight across the knot here. That's why that's not working. Let's see. I'll be able to get some off. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not. Might have to call it a lost cause. Sometimes you can go in from the side. When you go from the side, you're kind of trying to bust the knot, like cut it and kind of blow it apart. You're not really, it's a little different than splitting. I mean, you're still splitting, but tiny bit different. All right, what else do I got here? We'll just leave that to either wedges or, you know, just a big piece you burn. There we go. All split up. Well, almost. We got one piece left. If I wasn't worried about the camera, I'd leave the split there and I'd split it where it is. But we do got to worry about the camera because I'm not doing this, you know, I'm not talking to myself. I'm talking to the camera. There we go. We're all split up. I could probably get a little more heartwood off of the pieces I took the bark and sapwood off. But we're good to go. Really pretty. I love red oak. And you know, you can even see that it's still wet. This is something I wanted to talk about. You see how it's a little lighter in color up to about here? That's because the end grain has some less moisture content. But once you go down in, all that moisture is going to stay. And that's why big rounds rot before they dry. So when someone tells you, you know, seasoned firewood, but it's not split up, and it's a pretty large diameter, it's probably not getting any drier. It's going to either rot or stay wet forever almost. Guy I saw on YouTube who makes wagons, and he talks about how he dries the wheel hub. So the wheel hubs are made of wood, and he hollows it out so you could fit the, you know, the junk in there. And he says he dries them for 6 to 12 years. And those are hollow, okay? Or maybe not hollow, but there's a hole in them. I forget how large the hole. It might be a small hole. But that just goes to show you, okay? This stuff doesn't just dry because you want it to, because it's not seasoned because you want it to be seasoned. It's seasoned because you split it, you stacked it, you dried it, okay?